Welcome back to the second episode of My Dubai Presents Food for Thought in association with Al Adil Trading and Waterfront Market. Hey guys, thank you so much for your lovely feedback. We love your comments, we love your feedback. Well, joining me once again today is our renowned nutritionist Rashi Chaudhary. Hi Rashi, welcome back.
Hi.
And like they say, food is an art. One has to eat very intelligently. So let me begin by asking you, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
Wow, something that you probably wouldn't be interested in.
Why?
And because, I am literally a creature of habit. So for the past, I don't know how many years, I start my day with a butter coffee because I really believe in fat first. And post that, I'll do some protein and fat. So either it'll be, some eggs, or it'll be a protein shake, or it'll be a chia pudding or something like that. But most often it's just a whole lot of eggs with vegetables.
See, there you go. Breakfast or eating right is so subjective and it's so different, so varied.
100%.
So what should one eat and how should one eat?
Yeah. If you've noticed, what should somebody eat depends a lot on how they perceive food.
Correct.
Some live to eat, some eat to live. Some are emotional eaters, and
Yes.
we've all been there.
Yes.
And some are so careful about how their body looks and feels that they will count their macros down to the last gram and then eat that way.
Which is so sad.
I think it's a very restrictive way of living,
It is.
but each to its own.
Yeah, so there's so different ways of actually
100%. There are so many different ways. What you think is right depends on what is right for you specifically. I like to look at food a little differently. I don't think food is calories. I don't think food is fuel.
Right.
I think food is information. And when I say that, what I mean is every time we eat, the food goes into our system. It's a whole lot of information that your genes take up and they translate this into cellular instructions. So based on what we eat, we can actually program our body to function a certain way.
My question was, how do we eat and what do we eat to make our body function better?
Yeah, now there are so many different ways of looking at this, but one of the biggest ways these days, which is trending a lot, and for good reason, is taking care of your gut. You've heard about the gut health, right?
Gut. I mean, everybody's talking about gut, but I have no knowledge about gut. What is gut health, Rashi? What is it all about? Tell our
So your
viewers.
gut is an accumulation of a whole lot of organs together. It's your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach, your small intestines, your rectum. All of this together makes up the gut. What is gaining a lot of importance right now is the gut lining and the health of the gut lining.
What is a gut lining?
I'll tell you, but the thing is, when we talk about gut, your gut health is how well you modulate your gut microbiome or your gut bacteria. There are so many reasons to take care of the gut, and I want to very quickly talk about 4 reasons which I find the most important.
Okay.
Number 1, we spoke about this the other day, remember?
Yes.
Where I was telling you how our gut is literally the home to 100 trillion bacteria. We have an entire ecosystem of bacteria and viruses inside us. How well balanced this ecosystem is, that decides how well balanced we are. So if there's an imbalance of the gut bacteria, the microbiome, which means if there's more bad than good, it's going to have a negative effect on our body and the way we behave. So it's one of the reasons to take care of the gut. We are actually, if you count the number of cells, we are 90% bacteria, only 10% human. So
wow.
we better take care of this gut microbiome,
Listen to your gut, like they say.
100%. But for that, you need to make sure if your gut feelings have to be right, you've got to feed your gut the right way.
So
right?
how do we feed our gut the right way?
Yeah.
What are the basic rules to follow to keep your gut happy and healthy?
Yeah. So the other 3 things I do want to cover is, firstly, tell me what is the one thing that we are all chasing? We just want to be happy.
Right.
80% of your serotonin hormone, which is your happy hormone, is secreted in the gut. So you can be driving the best car, you could be having the best job, have the nicest boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. But if your health habits are not supporting your gut, then you won't secrete serotonin.
Wow.
And then you're not going to feel the joy and contentment in every single moment.
So which means there is a direct connection between gut health and you being happy.
100%, right?
Wow.
Because your serotonin hormone is secreted there.
Amazing.
And then there is also a connection between the gut and the brain. Tell me, how did you feel when you started this whole thing?
Like I had butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah. I was anxious as well. So because I was anxious up here, I had butterflies in my stomach here.
Wow.
That's a direct connection because there's a vagus nerve that goes from our gut right into our brain, and these two communicate with each other.
Amazing.
Our gut is like our second brain. And how many people these days suffer with anxiety? A lot of times they don't even know their gut is actually inflamed. there's inflammation, so it's crying out for help, and your brain is picking it up as a you need to survive, and it starts to give you anxiety or depression or whatever.
Little
gut,
did we know that
yeah.
a gut can be so important in one's life.
100%.
You
And
know?
lastly, how much are we hearing about immunity since the last 4-5 months?
A lot.
Everybody
Everybody's doing things to make your immune system strong.
Absolutely. And again, 80% of your immune system lies in your gut. And your gut lining is one of the most important things you will do. Like, if you want to be healthy, that's the first thing you got to take care of.
Wow, Rashi, now that you've told us how important our gut is for our system and for us to be happy, how do we go about taking care of our gut?
Do you really want the answer?
Yes, I do. Everybody wants to.
So it is hard, but honestly, I make a lot of my clients go on either a 2-week or a 4-week mandatory gut cleanse. And some of them need it even longer. So what I would request people who are watching us today is to at least do these 5 principles that I talk about for the next 30 days. The first one, you got to go gluten-free. I know.
Please don't talk about being gluten-free because we've grown up eating parathas, rice. How can we give up on gluten, and why do you think gluten is bad for us?
Look, to be honest, if I have to take the grain, this whole wheat grain, which our grandmoms ate, versus what you and me eat today. Modern wheat should not be called wheat anymore. If I put it under the microscope, they look like 2 different grains. Because in about 1870, the way we farm changed a lot. From doing a lot of stone grinding, we went to steel grinding. Now what happened is the fiber went away, the gluten went up, the nutrients were gone.
Oh my God.
So imagine the pests and bugs stop eating this stuff. So suddenly the manufacturers had more because there's no wastage. So they were getting more money because more output. Then in 1950s, the Green Revolution happened. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but what the basic reason was, is that they wanted to eradicate world hunger. So they wanted more produce. They didn't care about how nutritionally dense something is. They just wanted more food. Now, because of the Green Revolution, today, the modern day wheat that we have is a semi-dwarf version. It has absolutely like 30% more gluten, absolutely no fiber, no nutrients at all. And then when we consume this gluten, right, you have a piece of bread. The gluten from there goes into your stomach, turns into something called as gluteomorphine. Now, this is something which goes up because of the gut and brain connection, right? It goes up and your opioid receptors light up.
Okay, explain it to me in slightly easier terms.
So, you know what is opioid receptor? That's exactly what lights up when we have too much sugar.
So you get addicted, you mean?
Yeah, which is why we can't stop at one bite of cake.
Yeah.
We can't stop at one slice of
bread. And the
bread
basket.
Exactly. You know, I tell them to just take it away because otherwise, there's just, you can't stop because it is addictive.
Gosh. So
this
gluten can be that bad for you.
100%. And it's just not because gluten is bad, but because the way our modern processing methods are pathetic.
So gluten is not good for us. Thanks for enlightening us on that. What else?
That's the first principle. Second is you're going to kill me now. You're going to actually kill me now. You have to go dairy free.
I can't go dairy
I know.
because I love my paneer makhni, paneer pasand, paneer ka paratha. You
and the cheese, yeah,
no,
exactly.
Listen, I could understand why gluten is not good for us, but please explain why is dairy bad for us?
You know, cows were never meant to give milk for human consumption. Now listen to this. When we get milk from cows, they are milked when they are pregnant. All right. So now, because we want to make more money, we keep the cows forcefully pregnant for a long time.
Okay.
When you do that, the cow's body is not prepared for that, right? So their reproductive organs get overused.
Okay.
And then they fall sick. When they fall sick, we pump antibiotics, we pump hormones and growth hormones to make them feel okay. But their organ systems are stressed out. It's brutal. Forget about the cruelty. I mean, not forget about it, but like keep that on one side. But imagine the milk that's coming out of this cow. It has growth hormones, it has antibiotics. It's milked when it's pregnant, so it's got a whole lot of estrogen. Now, there's something called as molecular mimicry in our body. So when I'm going to have this, and if there's milk in it, and there's estrogen in it, of course, it goes into my body. The estrogen of the cow and of the human body is similar.
Okay.
It's not the same, but it's similar. My body feels, oh, I've got estrogen, and it stops producing estrogen. Imagine your little girls are having this. Which is why today PCOS is so common. 1 out of 8 women have endometriosis. People have acne, like it's insane.
Wow.
So dairy needs to go.
So Rashi, you mentioned that, gluten-free, dairy-free, these are diets which are good for your gut. But I read somewhere that fats are good for one's body. How can fat be good for one's body? Fats make you fat.
Fat is the most misunderstood macronutrient, but I'm so happy and thankful for keto because now suddenly people believe in fat.
We hate that word fat. Stay away from fat, right?
Yeah, but then there are good fats and bad fats, and that's a different conversation.
Okay.
The point is, because we're talking about gut here, understand when your gut is inflamed, right? It's like your gut's on fire. And a great fire extinguisher is fat, which is why I tell everybody to start their day with fat first. So you get up in the morning, have a tablespoon of ghee, butter, coconut oil, make sure it's organic because obviously you want that kind of stuff into your system. And even your little kids can have it. But
Pause. What does it do to our system, the fat?
The first thing is it literally, if your gut is inflamed, it's like a fire extinguisher.
Wow.
Secondly, when you wake up to this, it has no glucose in it. It has absolutely no carbohydrates in it. So you're going to have, stable insulin levels. When you have stable insulin levels, 50% of your problems are gone. You don't have brain fog, you're not hungry, edgy or tired, you're not craving for the next carbohydrate to put into your system.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know fats could be so magical for our body.
Yeah,
so
it really
gluten-free, not fat-free, dairy-free. What are the other points that one
So
can
there are two
add?
more things. I think when it comes to gut health, you can't not speak about fiber.
Okay.
Fiber is so important because the fiber goes into your system. Your good gut bacteria. We spoke about the gut microbiome, right?
Right.
We want the population of a gut microbiome to be nice and diverse, and you want a whole lot of good bacteria.
Right.
One way to do that is to feed them fiber.
Fiber.
And a lot of people, when they start this whole, gut cleanse journey, their gut is not very receptive to fiber because a lot of people have fruits and vegetables and salads and they feel bloated.
Yes.
There are so many people who eat salad and they're like, I just can't eat salad because I'm bloated.
Right.
It means you don't need it for a while. And do a 30-day gut cleanse and then start adding the fiber. But,
Yeah, go ahead.
just one thing. Prebiotics is the best thing for someone who's struggling with a whole lot of, issues with fiber. So onions, garlic, bananas, and potatoes, white potatoes. But the best thing is if you have a cooked and then cooled potato. The minute you cool a potato, the resistant starch, which is like fuel for gut bacteria, it triples.
Wow.
So potatoes are good for you.
Amazing, Rashi. I hope you guys are making your notes. Be dairy-free, gluten-free, not fat-free, and of course add fiber to your diet. But one thing that I've been dying to talk about is something which is trending on social media. #fasting.
Oh, wow.
So many people are trying different ways of fasting.
Yeah.
Tell us, is fasting good for our gut?
That's so interesting because it's one of the things that I make a lot of my clients do, especially during this 30-day cleanse. And you don't have to go all out and go, crazy about it because
Right.
a lot of people do it for so long.
Correct.
But what fasting does is when you fast for about 12 to 14 to 16 hours, the repair mechanism of a certain bacteria called Akkermansia kicks in.
Okay.
Now, Akkermansia is one of the best bacteria for your gut lining. But we spoke about the gut lining, right?
Yes,
it's like
yes.
this thin line,
True.
which actually protects us from this outside world. It's like a
Yes.
barrier.
Yes.
You know how thin this lining is?
How thin?
It's 50 microns. And you know how much 50 microns is? I take literally one
Strand of
human
your hair.
and I chop it into half.
Oh my God.
That's how thin this gut lining is. And the gut lining works like a toll gate. What does
Yeah.
the toll gate do?
So it just sort of discards what's not needed.
What's not needed, when the gut lining is intact, what's not needed stays out, toxins stay out, the nutrients that we need for our nourishment stays in. But imagine now this toll gate being all flimsy. Toxins enter your bloodstream. That's when chronic inflammation happens and we have all these issues.
Oh.
So when we fast, the repair mechanism of Akkermansia kicks in.
Right.
And it keeps your gut lining nice and intact. So fasting for 12, 14, 16 hours is a good thing.
So yeah, talking about this, Rashi, how can we not talk about intermittent fasting? 2020 has been a year of people trying intermittent fasting. It's trending everywhere on social media and
Yes.
otherwise. What exactly is intermittent fasting? And people are actually doing it to lose weight.
This is the thing. Because when you take up any diet, forget about intermittent fasting, any diet for the
Right.
sake of weight loss,
Correct.
your intentions are skewed. And if you're going to take up intermittent fasting yet again to lose weight, I think there's a bit of a problem there. And there are 3 things you need to keep in mind. Number 1, the intention can't be, I want to lose weight. Because it's not going to help.
True.
Do it for different reasons. Because
Yes.
you want a digestive break, because you want your gut microbiome to flourish, because you want these mitochondria, which is like the tiny cells in our body. The old ones die off and the new ones come in. which makes us feel young and happy and alive. Do it for those reasons.
Losing weight is just one of the reasons that will probably come in with that, right?
It may or may not.
But
That's not one of the reasons.
But it's good for your body. It's
It's
healthy.
good for your body because again, you're sticking to your circadian rhythm. What we spoke about in the first episode.
Yes.
You stop eating. Ideally, if you are going to intermittent fast, between 10 to 4. 10 to 6. These are good timings.
Okay, break it down for our viewers because I'm sure
Yeah.
our viewers are dying to know more about intermittent fasting. I've read a lot about it. Even me, I want to know more about it. So to begin with, what time should we eat? From what time to what time? And what should we eat? Firstly, what are the timings for intermittent fasting?
So here's the thing, because we spoke about circadian rhythm, right? We have an internal body clock that goes in sync with what's happening outside.
Right.
When we wake up in the morning, we want to eat because your metabolic hormones are in play. And by 6 p.m., so that days I finish at 4:30, which is
from morning till 6 p.m. you can eat.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock in the morning, okay.
And you stop at 6. But then again, that if you are somebody who's chomping burgers and you're in that kind of a lifestyle, please don't pick up intermittent fasting. 3 days you'll give up.
Guys, fasting is not for people who like junk food.
No, it can be. It can be. There are some teenagers who come to me and they just want to like eat junk, and then we kind of time there, so you don't have to do a 16-hour from the beginning, right?
Right.
You can do 12 hours.
So intermittent fasting can vary. But
First start with 12.
12.
Then go to 14. Then graduate or progress to 16.
So now that we know the timings, Rashi, tell us, what should we eat?
I think this again, it depends on person to person, right? So if you're new to intermittent fasting, I would say wake up in the morning. And if you are an early riser, then have your fat first.
Okay.
So you've got some fuel in, it'll still keep your insulin balanced. Then around 10 o'clock, eat a nice big meal. Eat your eggs, eat your avo, eat your, gluten-free bread or potatoes, any of those things. But eat carbs at that point. Eat your fruits, all of that.
Okay.
Then you can graze, throughout the day. And then make sure that before you stop, like before your fast starts, right? So around 4 or 6 p.m., again, you're eating a nice heavy meal, which has carbohydrates so you can sustain.
So an Indian person can have his proper meal, like a thali.
Of course, but have it around 4 or 6 so you can sustain.
Great, that's amazing. So, okay, now that we know a little bit about intermittent fasting, thanks to you, what are the things to remember or to keep in mind before one starts this fasting?
Yes, so the first is your intentions. Make sure those are right. You have to do it for the right intentions. Do it for, sometimes even people, look, our religion. So many religions promote it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
There is a spiritual significance as well to fasting. Because when you are not eating, suddenly those emotions that come up, you got to deal with it.
Absolutely.
You can't use food as a crutch.
Yes.
You have to deal with those emotions. So spiritually, it kind of uplifts you. So get your intentions right. Secondly, there are some people who do the intermittent fast, but they skew their relationship with food.
Yes.
Because guilt comes into play. After 6 o'clock, I have to go with my friends, but I can't eat.
Exactly.
And if I eat, I'm guilty.
Yes.
So if your relationship with food is going to get messed up, then please don't do the intermittent fast. Or do it 3 or 4 times a week. You don't have to do it every day. Of course, doing it every day has its own benefits, but you go at your pace, The problem is we want to do what everybody else is doing. That's where we mess up.
All right.
And lastly, most people who do intermittent fast, over time, what I've noticed is their appetite goes down. Now, what happens when your appetite goes down? You can't eat that much. If you can't eat that much, the number of calories you're consuming is less.
Less, absolutely.
But also the number of nutrients you consume is less.
Ah.
And guys, like...
One doesn't think about
We don't
these
think
things,
about it.
yeah.
Our nutrition, what we are getting from food, it's like you're building your nutritional bank balance inside.
Absolutely.
I don't want you to be depleted. I want you to be rich and abundant,
Yeah,
It has to be
how do you
balanced.
build on your immunity if you don't eat?
All of these things,
nutrients?
immunity, your serotonin, all of these things.
Absolutely.
So you have to make sure you eat enough if you're doing an intermittent fast.
Absolutely, Rashi. This has been so enlightening for our viewers and for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you again for having me.
So guys, before you start a diet or if you want to fast, make sure that you consult the right person. Rashi, how can our viewers get in touch with you?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram. My handle is Rashi Chaudhary.
And guys, if you have any questions for us here, you can also send me a direct message. Pallavi Talks is my Instagram as well as my Facebook handle. Hey guys, we're going to be back again with yet another episode of Food for Thought. My Dubai presents Food for Thought in association with Waterfront Market and Al Adil Trading Company. Join us next week on this very platform. See you, be healthy, stay hydrated and take good care of yourself.